That 2 wars have cost us $5.4 trillion so far. And it's going up. It isn't over yet. And we honor those also who have given their lives in the ministry. A lot of people don't understand. I think the people in the ministry, the pastors in the ministry, you know, has got it easy. They don't have it easy. I'll tell you what, I would rather be a soldier in the Army if I was going to weigh which one was the easiest. A soldier in the Army is easier than being a pastor. A policeman is easier than being a pastor. I know about the Army. I don't know about the policeman, but I know about the Army part. And I know what pastors go through. And I know what people say about them and what they do and how they had to put down their own feelings, and they had to put down the things, what they think sometimes and what they would like to do. They got to put that down, and they've got to think correctly, and they've got to do what God wants them to do. And they give up their lives. I had decided after I got saved and God called me into the ministry, and I ended up in Fort Wayne Bible College, and I seen some of the things that happened to ministers in the churches, and I thought, well, I'm not going to go into the ministry until after I raise my children. And well, I found myself in the ministry when my kids were half raised. And it's amazing, they was all raised in the same home. But my 3 oldest ones, my oldest son and my 2 oldest daughters, I couldn't ask for better kids. They went through hell with Mom and Dad, and they stayed with us in the church. And you know, I ended up in the hospital from stress because of church and what people were doing and what people were saying. I thought I was tough. I thought I could handle anything. Well, I could until I got to pastor. And boy, I want to tell you what, it was one of the roughest rides I ever went on as a young man. Because the problem you have, Pastor Dave, you just can't beat people up. You know, some of the things they say to you, I would have never tolerated it. And the things that they do, and I wouldn't have put up for a minute, but God says you got to keep your mouth shut. I'll fight your battles. You leave it to me. But you got to go through this thing. And 1 year, 3 times, I ended up in the hospital from stress, and they're pumping morphine in me and liquids in me, trying to keep me alive from all the stress. And Dr. Manzi says, Marvin, you got to get out of the ministry. I can't get out of the ministry. God called me to this. He says, you got to get out of this ministry. He says, it's killing you. I said, I can't do it. So the only other thing I can do, I had to learn how to handle it. I had to learn how to handle it. I had to learn how to let what people say and what people do roll off my back. I had to learn to land at Jesus' feet and say, Lord, the day's coming, a day of reconciliation when you're going to make everything right. You're going to make everything right. You're going to make it right for me. You're going to make it right for everybody. And so I lay those things down, and I give all those things to you. And ministers have to do that. You know, in our military, my son has to do that. And he was talking, my daughter-in-law was talking to me, and she said, Dad, she said, JR's having a lot of problems. He said he won't say anything to anybody, but his friends got shot up, and he said he's really bothered. He's having a hard time with it. And he said, you be praying for him. And I said, I will. You know, and he's got to let a lot of things go, and it's hard to forgive people that have killed your friends and shot at you and all that stuff. But you got to lay it down. You got to learn how to do it. Soldiers have to do that. You got to lay it down. We've got a nephew now that come back. He spent 3 tours in Iraq, 3 times, and you wonder why he sits with a beer bottle in one hand and he just can't get himself together. And with the military helping, he can't get any help. They just don't want to help. And you know, so what we can do is pray. You know, if they want counseling, you know, we're there to talk to them. But you know, God's got to intervene and help. And Christians, ministers, policemen, everybody's got to learn how to forgive and let things roll off their back and do what's right. Do what God has called us to do. Keep your integrity, your sacred honor. Your sacred honor. And I've spent my life since years ago when I first met your pastor. I don't know, I can't remember if I met you over in Minnesota or if I met you in Ohio. But I remember when they came to Ohio at the church, and I don't know if any of you have ever had this feeling, but there was a lot of ministers there. And I was walking through the foyer of the church and headed back to the fellowship hall, and I felt like I was walking among kings. This feeling come over me. I said, oh my God, I'm walking among royalty. They don't even know it, but they are. God has made us kings and priests. You know, and God takes us seriously, and He takes us seriously about His ministers and those that, you know, we read, they're instruments of God, the policemen, the firemen, and all these that are out there to protect us. These are instruments of God. These are people that God has ordained and God has called to do these particular jobs. And when they do it well, sometimes it costs them their life. And when a pastor or a minister does his well, sometimes it costs him a whole lot more than what you could ever imagine. I have 4 children that can't get over what happened to us in the ministry. I have my youngest son who lives on the streets with no home. Mom tries to take care of him. But he can talk, he can quote the Bible to you from front to back, but he can't forget all the stuff that happened and people say about God's ministers. And listen, you need to honor them. You've got one, and I tell people this all over about Pastor Dave. I said, if there's anything about Pastor Dave, he's a pastor. He is a pastor. You guys are blessed. This man has a heart for you. He has a heart for God's people. And the amazing thing is, he actually likes me. You know, him and I, we're nothing alike, but we just kind of seem to click. And he likes me, and I like him, and love talking to him, and encouraging him to stay in the ministry. And he blesses me. He asks me to come down here. He honored me. I told him on the phone when he asked me to come minister, I said, Dave, you honored me. He really honored me to come down during this special occasion. And I appreciate that. And I thank him very much for that. And I hope that you all remember that, you know, God respects people that respects other people. And God honors people that honors other people. And now at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Dave. He's got a little something he wants to do.